you to everyone that was out cheering, that was at the parade and made the awesome signs. So it's a tough day out there, so it's awesome to have, just everyone providing those little bits of motivation. So pretty cool. So I'm pretty banged up right now. I'm pretty sore, so I'll get to the whole story of that later. But can't do too much of the swim, bike, run at the camp, so I'll try and focus on the fun part of it. But all right, so the race challenge Penticton. First time I've ever actually raced this one at Penticton, and it's pretty awesome. I was going up against a guy, Chris McCormick. He's a legend in the sport. I've actually read his book, which is kind of cool. So it might be, hopefully one day it'll be like you guys racing and kicking my butt in a race. The swim was super choppy. It was pretty rough water, and he kind of gapped me for a while, but I didn't give up, right? Like I didn't say, oh man, he's gone. There's no point. I just kept working hard, and I ended up catching up with him right as we hit the beach and started running in. So it was kind of nice, just as we both stood up, and it was kind of like we looked at each other and we're like, all right, this thing isn't over. It's going on all day, right? So we left the transition together, and I passed him pretty early on, and I think my race strategy was just to go as hard as I could and try and get to that finish line the fastest, and not worry about what he was doing or what anybody else was doing in the race, just to really focus on myself. And there's a great quote from Steve Prefontaine. He said, somebody might beat me today, but they're going to have to bleed to do it. So I didn't think I would be the one bleeding, but anyways, so I just totally focus on my pace, and it's something I think you guys should do, because I heard him tell somebody somebody told me that he told him after the race that he says, man, I rode behind him or Chris said about me, I rode behind Jeff for 60 kilometers. He didn't look back once. He didn't even care where I was, and just I think mentally that I threw him, and his whole book is about mentally shaking people, so that was kind of a cool thing that I could return the favor to him. But and so I rode my pace. It was nice. My family was all out there and they're cheering. They were made these signs. My brother put on this one-piece shiny spandex bodysuit. I think it was made for a woman, but he was wearing it, and he had a big wig and everything, and so I was doing really well. It's just a dream day, and you're hearing these things, and at the last time I heard, I had 10 minutes. The guys are 10 minutes back, and I rode the next half an hour really strong, and I thought, all right, I have a big lead. I just got to do my thing, do well on the run, which is usually my strength. And so we're on this big steep hill, and it's so fast that you don't even pedal. You just kind of tuck down and just let the gravity take you. And as I'm doing that, I went to shake my legs out to see how they were feeling, and that kind of I guess made my bum wiggle, which made my wheel wiggle in the back, and all of a sudden my front was wiggling, and I was going down, and all I could think about was I'm going very fast. This is really bad. And so I hit the deck, and I started rolling, and I was laying there, and all of a sudden, and the only thing I was thinking was, oh man, I never want to do another triathlon again. I never want to ride a bike again. And I kind of picked myself up, and was thinking, oh, my race is over. This is terrible. And then the guys in the lead vehicle, they slammed on the brakes, and they came back and checked and kind of was like, is he okay? What's going on here? And I looked at the bike, and somehow the bike looked like I could still ride it. And after a little while, minutes standing there, the guys were like, well, okay, well, we'll get you in the car. And I didn't know what I was thinking. I probably wasn't thinking straight at that point, but I just threw my leg over the bike and started riding again. And I could hear the guys standing there going I guess we're doing this. Get back in the car. We're going. And I had, my shorts were all ripped here, and they were all ripped here and flapping, and my hand was all bloody and road rash, and these fingers were all ripped, the pads were all ripped off, so it was pretty painful, and I could kind of see the blood got back into town, and actually Mark just said you were smiling as you came into transition, and I was smiling because I said I want to get on this bike, and I never want to ride a bike again. So I was so happy to get on the run, but my hands were just like shredded, so I couldn't get my shoes on very well. I wasn't sure how I'd feel, and I headed out on the run, and my hip was sore, but at that point I started running, and there were so many people, like you guys included, were probably in there, and just cheering me on, that I thought I'm just gonna give it a go, and I'm gonna finish this thing. And just the kilometers kind of went by, and it all just worked out well. And it's kind of a blur. It just seems like it wasn't me; it was somebody else out there doing it. But next thing you know, I had only 2 more turns to go, and I turned, and I could hear the announcer saying something about me with my name, and they were just cheering. It was just an absolutely unbelievable experience. And, yeah, so I guess the moral of the story is never ever give up. Like, even when you think you're absolutely crushed, like it was a dream and a nightmare for me all the same day. But yeah, never ever give up, right? Because you never know what can happen. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, I don't know what else to say, but except for just I can't say thank you guys enough, right? It's pretty awesome to have you guys out cheering me on. So. You guys are the first people I told my story to like this, so I'm a little, saved it.
So Coach, I think all of us that were there that day will kind of remember that day for a long, long time, and what it was like for them witnessing you and knowing you and just being so excited for you. But a little anecdote that I had that just happened yesterday is I was going through Safeway and actually run into another TriPower parent. She's like new to the club, and she's like, I said, what do you think about Jeff? And she goes, I didn't know he was such a big deal. and then the cashier, this elderly grandma, she overhears us talking about it. She's 2 over, and she goes, Jeff Symonds is a modern day warrior. It's just really awesome. So yeah, that was great. Thanks for that.
Jeff, I was working at an aid station in Okanagan Falls, and we were following every single tweet, every step of the way, everything happened. Everyone was, no, just couldn't wait for you to come through the aid station. You were running so strong, it didn't feel like injured at all.
Well, when I was running at the start, I didn't really stop to see how my wounds were, because I almost didn't want to know how bad it was. And I heard people cheering me, and they'd say, "Looking strong. Oh, do you see the road rash?"